Hi, I just wanted to do my own disclaimer because in this video I'm going to show you how I'm starting to do some of my wiring. I am not a licensed electrician. I'm showing you how I'm doing my wiring. I am not instructing you to do your wiring in the same way, fashion that I'm doing it. So if you're going to do any of the stuff that I'm doing, make sure you know what you're doing. And I suggest if you don't know what I'm talking about, don't do it. Find somebody who can instruct you better than I. I'm not a teacher in any way, shape, or form. So, once again, I am not a licensed electrician. I am not instructing you how to do this. I am showing you how I am doing it.
Just a little update of what I did today after those panels came in, seeing how I took the day off of work. I ran some of the wiring. I'm gonna plug in all the solar panels. I have one down here, one down over there. And I still have this one plugged in over here. This is going to be for one of the 4-panel arrays over here. These 2 panels are actually going to just be for the charger to keep the batteries charged up. So them are actually going to go down on the other end. I'm still waiting for, I got some 12 gauge wire coming in. And you can just see ran it across top. And then on in, and yeah, I'll have to get that caulked in there and plug my other temporary hole. But yeah, I want to get some more something like those built for, I think I'm going to start with, except 2 of them are going to be for 4 panels, and another one is going to be for two panels, because the other 2 panels are going to go to the one inverter that stays on all the time. These 2 panels are going to go to the charger, and then the 4 panel sets, that's going to be for those limited grid tie inverters. And I want to set it all up so I can, if we ever lose power, I just switch everything and just throw all the panels right at the grow watt to keep everything charged and powered up as long as it's sunny outside. Then in here you can see where right now all the wires come in. Like I say, I still have to run another set of 12 gauge wire, so I'm not finished tying all those together yet. But once I get the 12 gauge in and get them ran over here, I will get those tied up. But started over here as far as waiting for the switches and some breakers and stuff to come in, and trying to make it as neat as I can, so when it comes time to having to switch over, and it's pretty straightforward and simple as far as using backup power. Doing some wiring over here on this grow watt, just hooking up. I was just about to hook up some of the AC wiring over here, and I just wanted to show you what I'm doing until I get the second grow watt up here and I'm able to get 240 volt coming out of here. I have to live with just 110, and I don't want to power half my house at that time. So what I'm doing here is I have this, a 240 plug, and you can see I just have one line hooked up. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be putting a jumper between L1 and L2, and so that way I'll have 2 120 circuits. I will not have 240 volt. I will have 2 120 circuits. It's 2 different things, and before you say you can't do that, yes you can. I've seen people do it on YouTube. I've checked it out. Yes, you can. Here's the jumper I'm going to be putting it in. Yeah, I know it's green, but it's a piece of wire I had laying around. But yes, you can, because you just have to be mindful when you power up this grow watt. If your house grid goes down, you go in the main house, you throw the main breaker off so you never backfeed and kill somebody out on the power lines. Then you throw all your 240 breakers off. You know, you just all the two-phase breakers, you just shut them right off, except for the one that this one's going to go to, of course. And then yes, you will power all the 120 outlets in your house, and it'll be fine. Just don't try running a 220 because it's kind of like running in a brownout condition, and you could do damage to it. Now you notice on here, I like using ends. I don't like just sticking bare wire in stuff. They tend to loosen up over time. You know, get yourself some good you know, spades or rings or ferrules or something on there, and buy the good ones. Don't buy the cheap ones. I get the stake-on ones. I have a nice you know, stake-on crimper that I use. You know, you got to remember, everything in your system is no better than your weakest link. You know, especially when it comes to wiring. If you shortcut on one thing, you're pretty much shortcutting on everything when it comes to your wiring. So it's better just to do it right the first time with wiring. Learn that the hard way. So I speak from experience. Yeah, you can see that jumper down in there. Not the easiest thing to kind of wedge in there and kind of keep it out of the way of everything, but it works. It works. Now, just to ad lib a little bit on that, yeah, you have two 120 legs. People think, oh, well, that's 240 volt. Once again, no, it is not 240 volt because you're in phase. Each leg is in phase of each other, even when it gets into your house. If you measure across L1 and L2 on a circuit breaker in your house, you're going to get 0 volts. You will not get 220. So you're going to get 0 volt. They're live. They're live. When you go from there to neutral, there to ground, they're live. So this is one of those things you don't do unless you kind of have a clue what you're doing. So if you don't understand what I'm saying, I guess do more research, talk to somebody, or just don't do it. But so yes, and some people say that you don't got to shut off all the 220 breakers because it won't do nothing. Well, yes, it will, because you still have voltage going to you. You have 120 volt and 120 volt on the two lines to the neutral inside your unit. Years ago, it may not have mattered as much, but number one, you don't want your water heater, if you got any electric water heater, you do not want it to kick in, because no, it's not good. It's like a brownout because it's only getting 120 volt, and some people say it won't hurt. I say I'm not chancing it. I open up all the breakers. I've done it before, and yes, it works. Just make sure all your breakers are opened up. You know, you don't have, I mean, even my air compressor, make sure that's open. My welder, you know, stove, you don't want to turn on anything accidentally. And you got to remember nowadays, especially with all the computerized stuff, they have a lot of more chips, and it's a lot more susceptible to bad conditions, and what you would be injecting into it was what I would consider a bad condition. So you're better off just opening up those breakers so they can't accidentally get turned on and you won't destroy anything. But all your 110 outlets will function as they should. So it will work. I've done it before. I guess it may depend on how they have your house wired up, but there should be no reason why it can't. And I know I've seen on YouTube, there's been a couple other gentlemen out there that have done this, you know, simply by finding one outlet, one 110 outlet, and one 120 outlet over here, and they plug their inverter with an extension cord way over there. Now, you only can use one inverter. Do not use two different inverters for this, because then it could get really wild on you if you're using one inverter for one phase and another inverter for one phase, because these inverters here, like the Growatt, they don't synchronize to anything. They're their own island. And so yeah, if you start going one inverter in one and one inverter in the other, your sine waves, they're still going into the neutral. There's meeting at the neutral, and I don't know. I've never done it. I've heard that that can be a really bad situation, and I guess I can understand that. So yes, do not use two inverters to feed both legs into your house. You have to use the same inverter. So this way, both legs are in sync of each other. Like I say, you'll get 0 volts across them, which shouldn't damage anything. Even if you forget to turn off a 220 thing, as long as it don't kick in, because once you start talking about two different inverters, then you could actually start getting voltage between L1 and L2, even though it could be like anywhere from 0 up to 240 volt, because they're not in sync of each other, and you will damage stuff inside your house if you do that. So if you're going to do this, just use one inverter to power both legs on your house. And I say, hopefully, I just eventually want to get that second grow watt and have my 240 volts, so this way I can run my air compressor and all this other good stuff. But I'm not there yet.